A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 151. Han Li never expected that the newly evolved soul-devouring beast would undergo such a drastic change. The Fallen Cloud sect's internal competition lasted for 13 days, culminating in the selection of 24 cultivators. Han Li was successfully among those chosen. The final group was comprised of 3 Foundation Establishment disciples, while the rest were all at the Qi condensation stage. The Peak Lords and Vice Peak Lords began discussing who would lead the team. This was an unpopular task because at every Grand Assembly, the Fallen Cloud sect and the 100 Skills Pavilion would return in defeat, inevitably facing mockery from the elders of the Ancient Sword Gate. Compounding the issue, the Ancient Sword Gate's team was once again being led by the sharp-tongued Zhang Yun. Therefore, the Fallen Cloud sect elders were unwilling to go and receive a scolding. Moreover, the Ancient Sword Gate had a disciple with a 9-spirit sword body this time, making their victory for the top spot a foregone conclusion. The 100 Skills Pavilion had also recruited a direct disciple from the Shangguan family who, despite still being in the Qi condensation stage, was capable of defeating sect elders using his self-refined magic tools. It was clear that none of the Fallen Cloud sect's disciples could stand against them. However, not attending was not an option. In the end, Peak Lord Duan of Fire Cloud Peak volunteered. He was joined by Peak Lord Yu of Sky Spring Peak and Junior Sister Song of White Phoenix Peak, forming a group of 3 to act as the leading elders. Upon learning that Junior Sister Song was going, the other elders showed expressions of regret. After all, she was renowned as the #1 beauty of the Fallen Cloud sect, and they had all wished for the opportunity to travel with her. As the elders reviewed the list of selected disciples, they showed a hint of surprise. Sky Spring Peak, which had relatively few participants, had managed to get 6 people selected, including 2 at the 10th level of Qi condensation. The new Peak Lord of Sky Spring Peak was greatly surprised himself, wondering when his peak had produced so many talented individuals. He noted that Han Li and Du Dong had only joined the sect for about a year, yet they were also on the list. He hurriedly asked the cultivator surnamed Gao, who had brought the list, to explain how those 2 had managed to win. The cultivator surnamed Gao quickly replied, "Martial nephew Du Dong possesses an extremely powerful, top-grade, ice attribute magic tool. It is a wheel-shaped tool, about a foot in diameter, with a crescent moon pattern carved on it. This tool can instantly activate an ice attribute protective shield and project an attack of frost chi in the shape of a large bird. No one was able to withstand a single blow from him." Hearing this description, the other elders noted that the magic tool resembled the clan-guarding treasure of the Du family, a clan that was annihilated 200 years ago. They began to speculate that this Du Dong might be one of their descendants. The cultivator surnamed Gao continued, "As for martial nephew Han, he fights in a very lavish manner. In his first match, he unleashed over 30 fireball talismans at once, defeating his opponent instantly. In subsequent matches, he utilized weapons from the mortal world combined with a clever flame-controlling technique. Supplemented by his talismans, he managed to narrowly defeat his opponents. It seems he is proficient in the art of talisman making and is also quite wealthy, which explains how he can afford to use low-grade talismans so extravagantly." After hearing this explanation, the elders found nothing unusual and moved on to discuss other sect matters. After finishing his competition, Han Li sensed a strange movement from the soul-guiding pearl. Realizing the soul-devouring beast was about to successfully evolve and was calling out to him, he hurriedly bid farewell to the congratulating disciples and returned immediately to his cave residence. Upon entering the spirit beast chamber, Han Li found it dim, dark, gloomy and terrifying. Countless wisps of ghostly qi swirled about, and a vast amount of icy yin qi emanated from the stone room. In a corner, a large oval-shaped cocoon, about 10 feet in size, had appeared. It was jet black and glossy, with flashes of black light flowing across its surface. The soul-devouring beast was inside this black cocoon. Well versed in ancient texts, Han Li knew that a master should stay nearby during a spirit beast's evolution. It was critical not to interfere unless the evolution failed and the beast's life was in danger, only then could one intervene to save it. Following this rule, he waited outside the spirit beast chamber. The next morning, the black cocoon began to crack. All the cold yin and ghostly qi in the chamber was absorbed into it. When Han Li re-entered the spirit beast chamber, he found the black cocoon had shriveled into 2 empty halves. Suddenly, a streak of black light appeared out of thin air in a corner of the chamber. With a low cry, a black shadow pounced toward Han Li. Though greatly alarmed and instinctively moving to dodge, Han Li recognized it in a flicker and stood his ground. A small cold thing flew into his arms, and he immediately caught the creature. It was the fist-sized soul-devouring beast. Its fur had changed from silver-white to jet-black, and a tiny hole had appeared between its two nostrils. On the beast's back was a blood-red demon pattern that resembled a ghostly shadow. This demon figure had a single horn on its head and 3 eyes, looking incredibly lifelike. Because Han Li had refined the soul-guiding pearl, he could faintly sense the soul-devouring beast's emotions. After they played for a while, the beast grew tired again, and Han Li placed it into his spirit beast pouch. He then went to his meditation chamber to cultivate with the spiritual eye jade. After being selected, the referee had told him that he and the other chosen disciples would receive one-on-one guidance from several core formation stage cultivators. This training would only last for a few days, and he would be notified when it was time. As for the guidance from core formation cultivators, Han Li naturally didn't pay it much mind and planned to just go through the motions when the time came. Meanwhile, in the next room, Yin Yu was possessing the demon fox to cultivate. She possessed a late core formation stage cultivation level, but the white fox was only a level 1 demon beast. So, although she could possess the fox to fight enemies, the duration was very short. Furthermore, her own cultivation level could not be increased through this practice. However, the demon fox's physical body could be strengthened through cultivation. Therefore, she could only focus on raising the demon fox's power. With the support of Han Li's medicinal pills, the demon fox's cultivation grew rapidly. Not long after, Chu Huan and the others came to apologize. They had told their sect elders about Han Li's skill in talisman making and hoped he wouldn't mind. This was within Han Li's expectations, so he reassured them with kind words and sent them on their way. Mu Peeling also came to seek guidance, and he spent half a day explaining to her the difficult points of the mysterious weapon art. Soon after, the core formation female cultivator surnamed Song sent a voice transmission talisman to Han Li, telling him to come over. This person was known as the #1 beauty of the Fallen Cloud sect, and Han Li felt it was quite good that she would be the one to guide him. He immediately rode his magical tool towards White Phoenix Peak. White Phoenix Peak was located in the easternmost part of the Fallen Cloud sect, quite far from the other 5 peaks. It was also the smallest of the 6 main peaks. The mountain was lush and green, covered in flowers and trees. In terms of scenic beauty, it was the most beautiful of the peaks. Under the guidance of a White Phoenix Peak disciple, Han Li arrived at the Phoenix Greeting Pavilion on the summit. This pavilion was about 20 zhang high, had 3 stories, and was built from an unknown white wood. Han Li landed in front of the pavilion and said loudly, "Disciple Han Li pays respects to martial ancestor Song." As soon as he finished speaking, he sensed a wisp of divine scent sweep over his body. Han Li pretended not to notice, remaining perfectly still with a normal expression. After a moment, a woman's gentle and moving voice came from within the pavilion. "Since you're here, come up to the 2nd floor. I'm waiting for you here." "As you command," Han Li said no more and went directly up to the 2nd floor. On the 2nd floor, besides a few racks piled with magical tools and jade slips, there were only a few chairs and a low stone table. A woman in a blue dress sat on a chair, looking down at a worn-out bamboo slip on the table, seeming to be studying something. Her cultivation was at the early core formation stage. Han Li hesitated for a moment, about to say something, when the woman looked up, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful face. She looked like a woman in her mid-20s. She asked calmly, "You are Han Li?" Han Li bowed his head and replied, "Yes, martial ancestor." The woman looked at Han Li with her clear, bright eyes and said slowly, "Since you were able to come here, it can be considered your good fortune. I will do my best to guide you for 3 days. How much you can comprehend during this time will depend on your own destiny." For some reason, although the woman's cultivation wasn't high, Han Li felt as if his mind and body were being seen through by her, and he couldn't help but be startled. One must know, Han Li's divine sense was comparable to that of a nascent soul-old monster. For this woman, who was only at the early core formation stage, to make him feel this way was simply too bizarre. It seemed this person had used some kind of probing divine ability of the mind. For this woman to possess such an astonishing ability, would Han Li's identity be exposed? Please give us a like and subscribe, fellow Taoists. Let's continue our chat in the next episode.